An Incident by Anton Chekhov. Translated by Constance Garnett. Morning. Brilliant sunshine is piercing through the frozen lacework on the window panes into the nursery. Vanya, a boy of 6, with a cropped head and a nose like a button, and his sister Nina, a short, chubby, curly-headed girl of 4, wake up and look crossly at each other through the bars of their cots. "Oh, naughty children," grumbles their nurse. "Good people have had their breakfast already, while you can't get your eyes open." The sunbeams frolic over the rugs, the walls, and nurses' skirts, and seem inviting the children to join in their play. But they take no notice. They have woken up in a bad humor. Nina pouts, makes a grimace, and begins to whine. "Breakfast, nurse! Breakfast!" Vanya knits his brows and ponders what to pitch upon to howl over. He has already begun screwing up his eyes and opening his mouth, but at that instant the voice of Mamma reaches them from the drawing room saying, "Don't forget to give the cat her milk. She has a family now." The children's puckered countenances grow smooth again as they look at each other in astonishment. Then both at once begin shouting, jump out of their cots, and filling the air with piercing shrieks, run barefoot in their nightgowns to the kitchen. "The cat has puppies!" they cry. "The cat has got puppies!" Under the bench in the kitchen there stands a small box, the one in which Stepan brings coal when he lights the fire. The cat is peeping out of the box. There is an expression of extreme exhaustion on her grey face. Her green eyes, with their narrow black pupils, have a languid, sentimental look. From her face, it is clear that the only thing lacking to complete her happiness is the presence in the box of him, the father of her children, to whom she had abandoned herself so recklessly. She wants to mew and opens her mouth wide, but nothing but a hiss comes from her throat. The squealing of the kittens is audible. The children squat on their heels before the box and, motionless, holding their breath, gaze at the cat. They are surprised, impressed, and do not hear nurse grumbling as she pursues them. The most genuine delight shines in the eyes of both. Domestic animals play a scarcely noticed, but undoubtedly beneficial part in the education and life of children. Which of us does not remember powerful but magnanimous dogs, lazy lapdogs, birds dying in captivity, dull-witted but haughty turkeys, mild old tabby cats who forgave us when we trod on their tails for fun and caused them agonizing pain? I even fancy sometimes that the patience, the fidelity, the readiness to forgive, and the sincerity which are characteristic to our domestic animals have a far stronger and more definite effect on the mind of a child than the long exhortations of some dry, pale Karl Karlovich, or the misty exposition of a governess trying to prove to children that water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. "What little things!" says Nina, opening her eyes wide and going off into a joyous laugh. "They are like mice. 1, 2, 3. Vanya counts. 3 kittens. So there is 1 for you, 1 for me, and 1 for somebody else too." "Mum, mum, mum," purrs the mother, flattered by their attention. "Mum." After gazing at the kittens, the children take them from under the cat and begin squeezing them in their hands. Then, not satisfied with this, they put them in the skirts of their nightgowns and run into the other rooms. "Mamma, "The cat has got pups!" they shout. Mamma is sitting in the drawing room with some unknown gentleman. Seeing the children unwashed, undressed, with their nightgowns held up high, she is embarrassed and looks at them severely. "Let your nightgowns down, disgraceful children," she says. "Go out of the room or I will punish you." But the children do not notice either Mamma's threats or the presence of a stranger. They put the kittens down on the carpet and go off into deafening squeals. The mother walks around them, mewing imploringly. When a little afterwards the children are dragged off to the nursery, dressed, made to say their prayers, and given their breakfast, they are full of a passionate desire to get away from these prosaic duties as quickly as possible and to run to the kitchen again. Their habitual pursuits and games are thrown completely into the background. The kittens throw everything into the shade by making their appearance in the world and supply the great sensation of the day. If Nina or Vanya had been offered 40 pounds of sweets or 10,000 kopecks for each kitten, they would have rejected such a barter without the slightest hesitation. In spite of the heated protests of the nurse and the cook, the children persist in sitting by the cat's box in the kitchen, busy with the kittens till dinner time. Their faces are earnest and concentrated and express anxiety. They are worried not so much by the present as by the future of the kittens. They decide that one kitten shall remain at home with the old cat to be a comfort to her mother, while the second shall go to the summer villa, and the third shall live in the cellar, where there are ever so many rats. "But why don't they look at us?" Nina wondered. "Their eyes are blind like the beggars." Vanya, too, is perturbed by this question. He tries to open one kitten's eyes and spends a long time puffing and breathing hard over it, but his operation is unsuccessful. They are a good deal troubled, too, by the circumstance that the kittens obstinately refuse the milk and the meat that is offered to them. Everything that is put before their little noses is eaten by their grey mamma. "Let's build the kittens little houses," Vanya suggests. "They shall live in different houses, and the cat shall come and pay them visits." Cardboard hat boxes are put in the different corners of the kitchen, and the kittens are installed in them, but this division turns out to be premature. The cat, still wearing an imploring and sentimental expression on her face, goes the round of all the hat boxes and carries off her children to their original position. "The cat is their mother," observed Vanya. "But who is their father?" "Yes, who is their father?" repeats Nina. "They must have a father." Vanya and Nina are a long time deciding who is to be the kitten's father, and in the end their choice falls on a big, dark red horse without a tail, which is lying in the store cupboard under the stairs, together with other relics of toys that have outlived their day. They drag him up out of the store cupboard and stand him by the box. "Mind now," they admonish him. "Stand here and see they behave themselves properly." All this is said and done in the gravest way, with an expression of anxiety on their faces. Vanya and Nina refuse to recognize the existence of any world but the box of kittens. Their joy knows no bounds, but they have to pass through bitter, agonizing moments too. Just before dinner, Vanya is sitting in his father's study, gazing dreamily at the table. A kitten is moving about by the lamp on stamped notepaper. Vanya is watching its movements and thrusting first a pencil, then a match into its little mouth. All at once, as though he has sprung out of the floor, his father is beside the table. "What's this?" Vanya hears in an angry voice. It's the kitty, Papa." "I'll give it you. Look what you have done, you naughty boy. You've dirtied all my paper." To Vanya's great surprise, his papa does not share his partiality for the kittens, and instead of being moved to enthusiasm and delight, he pulls Vanya's ear and shouts, "Stepan, take away this horrid thing." At dinner, too, there is a scene. During the second course, there is suddenly the sound of a shrill mew. They begin to investigate its origin and discover a kitten under Nina's pinafore. "Nina, leave the table," cries her father angrily. "Throw the kittens in the cesspool. I won't have the nasty things in the house." Vanya and Nina are horrified. Death in the cesspool, apart from its cruelty, threatens to rob the cat and the wooden horse of their children, to lay waste the cat's box, to destroy their plans for the future, that fair future in which one cat will be a comfort to its old mother, another will live in the country, while the third will catch rats in the cellar. The children begin to cry and entreat that the kittens may be spared. Their father consents, but on the condition that the children do not go into the kitchen and touch the kittens. After dinner, Vanya and Nina slouch about their rooms, feeling depressed. The prohibition of visits to the kitchen has reduced them to dejection. They refuse sweets, are naughty, and are rude to their mother. When their uncle Petrusha comes in the evening, they draw him aside and complain to him of their father, who wanted to throw the kittens into the cesspool. "Uncle Petrusha, tell Mamma to have the kittens taken to the nursery," the children beg their uncle. "Do, oh do tell her." There, very well," says their uncle, waving them off. "All right." Uncle Petrusha does not usually come alone. He is accompanied by Nero, a big black dog of Danish breed, with drooping ears and a tail as hard as a stick. The dog is silent, morose, and full of a sense of his own dignity. He takes not the slightest notice of the children, and when he passes them, hits them with his tail as though they were chairs. The children hate him from the bottom of their hearts, but on this occasion practical considerations override sentiment. "I say, Nina," says Vanya, opening his eyes wide, "let Nero be their father instead of the horse. The horse is dead and he is alive, you see." They are waiting the whole evening for the moment when Papa will sit down to his cards, and it will be possible to take Nero to the kitchen without being observed. At last, Papa sits down to cards. Mamma is busy with the samovar and not noticing the children. The happy moment arrives. "Come along," Vanya whispers to his sister. But at that moment, Stepan comes in and with a snigger announces, "Nero has eaten the kittens, madam." Nina and Vanya turn pale and look at Stepan with horror. "He really has," laughs the footman. "He went to the box and gobbled them up." The children expect that all the people in the house will be aghast and fall upon the miscreant Nero. But they all sit calmly in their seats, and only express surprise at the appetite of the huge dog. Papa and Mamma laugh. Nero walks about by the table, wags his tail, and licks his lips complacently. The cat is the only one who is uneasy. With her tail in the air, she walks about the rooms, looking suspiciously at people and mewing plaintively. "Children, it's past 9, cries Mamma. "It's bedtime." Vanya and Nina go to bed, shed tears, and spend a long time thinking about the injured cat and the cruel, insolent, and unpunished Nero.